Tonight on WBOC News at 6.
I'm Steve Hammond.
And I'm Paul Butler. We're covering all of Delmarva tonight.
In Accomack County, guilty. Why Accomack arsonist Charles Smith pleaded out instead of going to trial.
In Dorchester County, justice is served. A look back at when a deputy was shot and how long the shooter will now be in jail.
But to know that he sees a gun and 99% of the people in the world would run the other way, but CJ ran right for him to stop for me. He was amazing.
In Wicomico County, hear from Kristen Loads as she talks about her friend CJ Abbott, who died saving her life.
It's going to be a dark and blustery Halloween, but the rain will hold off. I'll show you how the weekend is shaping up, coming up in a few minutes.
Now, WBOC News at 6, Delmarva's news leader.
There he is, the man responsible for arsons that terrorized Accomack County. Today, he pleaded guilty. Good evening, I'm Paul Butler.
And I'm Steve Hammond. Welcome to WBOC News at 6.
For months, it seemed like nearly every night, people in Accomack County worried if their property would be next, and firefighters were forced out of their beds to put out another intentionally set fire.
But finally, in April, two people, Tanya Bundick and Charles Smith III, were arrested for their connection to these fires. This morning in court, Smith admitted his guilt. WBOC's Bill Mitch was inside the Accomack County courtroom today. He joins us now live. Bill, Smith pled guilty to all 68 charges he faced.
584 years in prison and over $5 million in fines. That's the maximum sentence Charles Smith faces today after pleading guilty inside Accomack County Court. Smith's attorney says the guilty plea comes after spending hours and hours reviewing documents and videos provided by state police. Charles Smith entered Accomack County Court today without saying a word. Once inside, his answers were very short, mostly consisting of, "Yes, sir, Your Honor." But it was the three words that caught the attention of everyone inside when the judge asked, "Mr. Smith, how do you plead to these counts?" "Guilty, Your Honor," were the next words from Smith's mouth. Smith's attorney Carl Bundick says after the original plea of not guilty, they were able to review more evidence.
What was needed was an opportunity to have that discovery order entered, which it was on our arraignment day. And after spending hours and hours and hours reviewing those documents, that then changed the tenor of the plea from the not guilty plea to the guilty plea. Another piece of evidence Bundick referred to was 4 DVDs of interrogation video provided by state police from the day Smith was arrested. One of the DVDs is video of police driving Smith around Accomack County to different fires, and he would confirm or deny his involvement in each arson. The attorney for the Commonwealth of Virginia did not wish to get into detail about the court proceedings.
When I make statements to the press, then it could influence the public. We've still got another case to present with regard to these fires, and so any comments I make could be called into question.
The other case Gary Agar was referring to is the trial for Tanya Bundick, Charles Smith's fiancée, who faces 2 charges for her role in the arson spree. Smith's attorney was asked if Charles Smith would have a role in that trial, perhaps taking the stand, and he said it was an uncertain answer at this time. Charles Smith kept his emotions to himself both inside and outside of the courtroom today, but his attorney says he has seen the toll the case has taken on his client.
Mr. Smith is very remorseful.
One final note, Smith's attorney said in court that Smith was diagnosed with bipolar disorder after being arrested and is now for the first time in his life receiving proper treatment for his condition. Now, as far as sentencing, no date has been set as of yet. The judge will allow the defense to have a third party take a look at the case and Charles Smith to see if there's any mitigating factors that should be in that decision. The judge is hoping for a sentencing date sometime in December. Live in Accomack County, Bill Mitch, WBOC News, Accomack.
All right, Bill, thanks. Now, Smith pleading guilty has been the talk of the town today in Accomack. Now, many say they knew him around the community for years. Some even say they grew up with Smith. One man says Smith's guilty decision feels like a closure for just about everyone impacted by the fires.
I think it's well deserved. I think a lot of people are glad that he fessed up to it. You know, he's already done enough damage. You know, trying to lie about it.
Now, that man, Seth Matthews, was one of the guys who was part of the arson hunters group trying to solve the mystery in Accomack County.
Meantime, for firefighters in Accomack County, the Charles Smith news received mixed reaction. Some were indifferent, saying they don't care that the man who set all those fires pled guilty. Others were glad that all of this is just about behind them. One man believes Smith deserves a special penalty because of his history as a firefighter.
You know, I hope they put him away for a long time, especially since he used to do this. You know, I've always been of the opinion that firefighters who turned arson for whatever reason should get double the penalty of whatever the average Joe citizen gets.
Most of the firefighters we spoke with today said they were uncomfortable speaking on camera about Smith and the arsons in Accomack County.
It's been over a year since a Wicomico County Sheriff's deputy was injured in a Cambridge shootout.
Today, the man responsible for shooting that officer was sentenced in federal court. Now, this is a federal case because the deputy was working as a marshal with the U.S. Marshal Service at the time. WBOC Midshore Bureau Chief Tyler Butler in Cambridge, where that shootout took place. And Tyler, important to remember that Tavon Dobson pled guilty in this case.
Steve, that plea didn't stop the judge from issuing quite a severe jail sentence. 28 years in prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release, all for that attempted murder. You may remember this scene from February of 2012. Police had blocked off Hubbard Street after an arrest gone bad. Officers from several different agencies working as U.S. Marshals were going from door to door looking for this man, Tavon Dobson. When police found Dobson, he opened fire, starting a shootout that went on for 4 hours until Dobson surrendered. But early in that shootout, Detective Thomas Funk with the Wicomico Sheriff's Department was shot in the shoulder and jumped through a second-story window to run to safety. Wicomico County Sheriff Mike Lewis remembers when he first saw Detective Funk.
This man could have easily lost his life that day, and I was with him when he was brought into the hospital. I was waiting for him when he was brought in by ambulance, and I was with his family the day this occurred, as many of us were.
Fast forward to now, Tavon Dobson has his day in court and is sentenced to 28 years in prison for shooting a federal officer. Mike Lewis says he's glad to see that justice was served, even if Dobson may have gotten off easy.
He fired at multiple police officers that day. My deputy happened to be the one that was struck. But this was a gun battle. This was a gunfight that occurred in the confines of a small home, and it led out to the streets of Cambridge. And this man should have easily gotten a life sentence.
Detective Funk is back at work, and Sheriff Lewis says he's glad to have Funk on his feet and working to keep Delmarva safe again, and the man that shot him safely behind bars. Now, this is the house behind me where that shootout took place, and there's virtually no sign anything took place here. Bullet holes are filled in, broken windows replaced, and the man who caused it all is behind bars. Reporting live on the Midshore, Tyler Butler, WBOC News, Cambridge.
It is back. Pumpkin chunkin' time. For 28 years in Sussex County, tens of thousands of pumpkins have been hurled into the air, all for a good cause and the title of world champion. WBOC's Leanne Matlack is live in Chopper 16 tonight. Leanne, thousands of chunkers are in town, but one of the best will be missing this year.
Paul, you don't expect pumpkins to be very aerodynamic, but John Wolfman Thomas made the orange orbs fly. As you can see here from Chopper 16, chunkers from across the country have been setting up here all day, and they were sending practice pumpkins into the air earlier. But one of the best chunkers will be missing from this year's fun. Wolfman, as he was known by his friends, passed away over the summer after a motorcycle accident, and many of the chunkers I spoke with today say Wolfie had become an icon of the festival.
He'll be missed because he's a character. We know he's here with us. And we're going to pay a little tribute to him on Saturday. We're going to do our version of a 21-gun salute.
That salute will include air cannons shooting off 30 pumpkins simultaneously, and that's happening on Saturday, but the fun at Pumpkin Chunkin' begins tomorrow. Live in Chopper 16 over Bridgeville, Leanne Matlack, WBOC News.
As we continue here on WBOC News at 6.
He's my hero. Now he's my guardian angel.
Kristen Lotes, the SU student shot in the face, is now speaking about C.J. Abbott, the man who saved her.
Kristen and CJ's mom sit down with WBOC to talk about their final moments with CJ. Their story is next, but first, the people, the places, our history.
WBOC is proud to serve all of Delmarva. Here's meteorologist Mike Lichniak.
We are proud to serve the area near Greenwood in Sussex County, where when you travel northwest, you travel into Kent County, and you find this chapel right here. It would be at this chapel that a congregation would form, tracing its roots all the way back to the days of the Revolutionary War. We discuss the church started by Levin Todd from Chopper 16. As Methodist pioneers, Francis Asbury and Freeborn Garretson traveled across the region preaching the Word of God. While traveling, they would organize groups or societies to gather and worship. It would be local resident Levin Todd that would host such meetings in the early formation of the Methodist Church. Along with other representatives, Todd would purchase land from Olive and Mary Jump to serve as a site for permanent worship. The first structure would be in use until the current church replaced it in 1858, with an expansion that included a Sunday school added in 1966.
WBOC is proud to serve Greenwood and all of Sussex County, and proud to partner with my friends at Johnny Janosic in Laurel and Dover. Visit Johnny Janosic's new and exciting Game World in Laurel, where you'll find game tables, billiard tables, poker tables, plus bars and spirit cabinets, all in Johnny Janosic's World of Furniture. I'm Mike Lichniak in Chopper 16.